Chapter 22, the Pastoral Relations, 22-1. The various pastoral relations are pastor, associate pastor, and assistant pastor, 22-2. The pastor and associate pastor are elected by the congregation using the form of call in BCO 20-6. Being elected by the congregation, they become members of the session. 22-3. An assistant pastor is called by the session by the permission and approval of presbytery under the provision BCO 20-1 and 13-2, with presbytery membership being governed by the same provisions that apply to pastors. He's not a member of the session, but may be appointed on special occasion to moderate the session under the provision of BCO 12-4. 22-4. The relationship of the associate pastor to the church is determined by the congregation. The relationship of the assistant pastor to the church is determined by the session. The dissolution of the relationship of both is governed by the provisions of BCO 23. 22-5. In order to provide necessary changes in pastorates, a temporary relation may be established between a church and a minister called stated supply. If a church is unable to secure a regular pastor or a stated supply, then the session, with approval of presbytery, may establish a temporary relation between the church and a licentiate called student supply or ruling elder supply. 22-6. Such temporary relationship can take place at the invitation of the church session to the minister of the word, the licentiate, or the ruling elder. The length of the relationship will be determined by the session and the minister, the licentiate, or the ruling elder with the approval of the presbytery. Stated supply, student supply, or ruling elder supply relationship will be for no longer than 1 year, renewable at the request of the session and at the review of the presbytery. See also BCO 19-1. Chapter 23. The dissolution of the pastoral relation and the procedure for honorable retirement. 23-1. When any minister shall tender the resignation of his pastoral charge to his presbytery, the presbytery shall cite the church to appear by its commissioners to show cause why the presbytery should or should not accept the resignation. If the church fails to appear, or if its reasons for retaining its pastor be deemed insufficient, his resignation shall be accepted and the pastoral relation dissolved. If any church desires to be relieved of its pastor, a similar procedure shall be observed. But whether the minister or the church initiates proceedings for a dissolution of the relation, there shall always be a meeting of the congregation called and conducted in the same manner as the call of the pastor. In any case, the minister must not physically leave the field until the presbytery or its commission empowered to handle uncontested requests for dissolution has dissolved the relation. The associate or assistant pastors may continue to serve a congregation when the pastoral relation of a senior pastor is dissolved, but they may not normally succeed the senior pastor without an intervening term of service in a different field of labor. However, a congregation by a secret ballot with 4/5 majority vote may petition presbytery for an exception, which by a 3/4 majority vote presbytery may grant. Presbytery needs to determine if the dissolution of the pastoral relationship with the senior pastor was brought about in Christian love and good order on the part of the parties concerned. 23-2. The presbytery may designate a minister as honorably retired when the minister by reason of age wishes to be retired, or as medically disabled when he by reason of infirmity is no longer able to serve the church in the active ministry of the gospel. A minister medically disabled or honorably retired shall continue to hold membership in the presbytery. He may serve on committees or commissions if so elected or appointed. 23-3. A minister, being medically disabled or honorably retired, may be elected pastor emeritus by a congregation which seeks to honor his past earnest labors among them.